na yɛkaka yɛ ho fi sɛ nsɛm a meka yɛ nyinaa no nyɛ adeɛ obi nti bi da nti yɛkaka yɛ ho sɛ abundant health no anaasɛ apɔmuden a ɛbu so anaasɛ ɛyɛ ewie pɛyɔ amapa no ɛnyɛ nneɛma complex biara ne a nneɛma bi a nneɛma huhuhu biara anaasɛ nneɛma ne bɔɔden bi anaasɛ procedure bi technology kakrakra bi na yɛhia a yɛde bɛnya saa ɛno ɛyɛ nneɛma nketenkete ya nyame de ama yɛn yi a akwanhwɛfoɔ de yɛhyira yɛ nyame yɛhyira yɛn nti no de biara da yɛte bi almost every week biara yɛte bi ɛwɔ yɛn nsɔre mu ɛwɔ yɛ zoom lines ahoroɔ so yɛ conferences no ne ka meetings ahoroɔ nyinaa de biara yɛne the only church a yɛwɔ nhyehyɛeɛ saa na ɛnam saa nti no ɛna ɛm sɛ yɛbu yɛni gu so anaasɛ yɛntiki no yɛtiki no for granted nti ɛnɛ ɛna zoom deɛ no yɛ the last one ɛne anwummere nyamboa ɔkyena ɛma adepakye yɛn a ɛbɛba Long Island na yɛba a yɛbɛka lecture bi atwa toɔ awia no nyamboa awia no yɛbɛyɛ saa presentation no a mese yɛfrɛ no sɛ protein, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Proteins, the good, the bad, the ugly. And maybe yɛbɛka from fatigue to flourish ɛho asɛm. Ɛm sɛ meka ho asɛm kakra mmerɛ na meka nsuo ho asɛm no ɛna meka sunshine ho asɛm ɛna even exercise koraa ɛbɛn mu sɛ fatigue anaasɛ de biara na wabrɛ na asɛ onipa biara yɛ ɔyɛ ho tutututu ho yɛ basabasa no ɛyɛ big problem paa as you say clinically koraa no yɛwɔ condition bi a yɛato din sɛ chronic fatigue syndrome. Because a CBB syndrome, a collection of signs and symptoms. A defined BB. Typical example, see a premenstrual syndrome. And no, a man be any no man a betia sickness. I say, my do time, my overcoat feature. The bones and us, I fee. Why irritable, be to again and ibuafu, and some cacrebia na he. A fee ube uns and any mood nasa, ubi a honomo and rating or ye din as and ra hono, ubi so honomoa. Na and no, na fee on your cramps, a pie and ding. And in a be a honomo, so na a fee atone say, ubi din yama situate room, ubi and so not to say, or benunum juice, and I say, a dear obedi. Obi honum so only di grant okay kasa we no nyina abomu a enye friend is the premenstrual syndrome enti no enhye da nye yare bi a beka say yare potee say but there a group of signs and symptoms a yekambo mu a emma ye difference a enti say obi bi say friend is a chronic fatigue syndrome so chronic fatigue syndrome no the chase ye any anase ne group of signs and symptoms a yekambo mu a ye different the case will be or say ni bi ni say nipa no wabrɛ de biara no wabrɛ chronically wabrɛ ya obɛyɛ ne test biara oni infection onya bacteria onya virus ɛnyɛ yareɛ bi apɔtee na ɛha no obɛcheck ne blood pressure yɛ okay ne cholesterol yɛ okay ne bibia yɛ fine ne blood work nyinaa bibia yɛ okay ne iron ne sodium ne potassium ne thyroid bibia yɛ okay ɛnso de biara no wabrɛ ɛna afei nso yɛbɔ sɛ na ne asɛ ne wabrɛ no ɛnso na ne ho so saa etutu no ka ho asɛ multiple points of pain wo sɛ ne kɔn akyi ha sei ɛyɛ ne ya n'akyi ne upper back no lower back ne serɛ akyi ne nantu calf no asɛ pain points no dɔɔso bebree ɛno no nyinaa ne ka bɔ my friend sɛ chronic fatigue nti ɛyɛ common sɛ ɛdɔɔso paa nipa bebree ɛwɔ saa problem ni bi na deɛ ɛteɛ ne sɛ nneɛma bebree na de ba na adeɛ baako a ama saa chronic fatigue syndrome yi adɔɔso sisei ɛno ho asɛm na yɛbɛka and no asem na yehu ekwan a ebefa so a you be move from a state of fatigue to a state where we are flourishing. Every say baby ya bre ebeko baby afi ye from a year tumpon. Na eno no di ade. Eno any ohome rest. Ohome. Na say me ya kind of bebre this week. Rest no ya na ye fa no say ye be simple. Usually say you can't rest once a man. Ya adwene ya and say my brain ma tana ase gima home. And I say madda. They said you know buy or that screen you so come wada utimi say wada peacefully. And no you're part of rest, but rest no nya rest in any. Enti a yen rest no enti move yen from fatigue to flourish. And I say be a rest according to say your understanding of rest here. Nanso still ye fatigue de bia no. And no ho asem no yebeka. Yebehwe niema bi a efa rest ho a yemfa ya adwene nko so. Anaasɛ kwan a ebi a yɛfa so rest a enye na ya correct no. Na aboa yɛn ama yɛtumi move from fatigue to flourish. Na deɛ di kan no wohwɛ yɛ nuaba yɛ ɔda so yɛ a wobɛhu sɛ wada kama paa na ɛyɛ ade a ɛyɛ beautiful sɛ wobɛtumi ada peacefully see a ɛm sɛ babies ne taa da saa wohwɛ n'anim sɛ ne wada no a asɛ sereɛ kakra kora wɔ nim asɛ ne gyeɛ wɔ n'anim wɔ ne nnam. It shows us a unique care in this world, or you're just relaxed and peaceful no wada. See, to me that's a idea a pa. Next no kre woman say rest and sleep are not the same. The dream may be a you can say oh make a rest kakra to say make da. Rest and sleep are not the same. If you actually says you can rest and once there was 7 different types of rest. 7 and so in this 7 no and no one asem na yebeka ne na eno na se yetimi saa enso ni na ya adwuma a ebeboa yan am move from fatigue state ade bia na ya bre your muscles baby ye hututu ye akọ state in a state of flourishing baby ye flourish ya ye tumpon ye bibia ekoyi man nti yan hyase. The first type of rest that boy ama yetimi ye move into a state of where we are flourishing is physical rest. Inti de bia de nyina ya na say rest na ya na say ye de akoye say enane rest is the same no. It is only one aspect of rest. It is sleep is just one aspect. It is just the physical rest. Na eno no very simple. Ye nipa dua yi say na medical kan no amra na ye nsuo ho asem a me show say ye was cells a eno na building blocks for ye nipa dua no. Na cells ni ye adwuma itimi ye finti ye nsuo ye de ba wokro no. Sa apart from say ye nsuo ye de ba wokro no cells no adwuma ebre. E wo mu say wonu nsuo de clean ne de. But cell nankasa no nso ebre. Into all the 10 trillion cells na we nipa dua mu no adwuma ebre. Into enam say ebre nti no ehia rest physically. So our bodies need rest from being awake. This is many gusu ya meti ha na make say and yet ye participate in Zoom program here. But the opposite of being awake, physiologically speaking, we be higher and say yada. Inti oda and no ebuama cells na abre no enya home. Your brain, ya adwini a eye adwuma de bia da. If you are not pakosi anwumre de enema ye hu ye de ani hu nyina nsama ye de asonte conversations are here participating in our activities are here juma work are here ni nyinaa no brain no na command center coordinating nyinaa, and so the brain also gets tired. Aduane a efia no pa di ye reside ye no ye memene efia no pa kosi anwumre no ye funu na yam no ye nso na yam no adwuma na eno nso it needs rest. Yani ehwe niema kan book ehwe screen yi and also gets tired, it needs a rest. It is yebeka ni ya yeni peduane nyina ehia rest. Na sa wote asie ye say rest no is not just about sleeping, but a state be a physical rest no, and not just about sleeping, but it is a state be a come na wama brains rest, wama weni rest, wama waso rest, wama onipedua physical so muscles ni joints rest. Our approach to rest or physical rest is sleep may be completely different. Because it's a walk now the whole now TV, the physical rest is not complete. Because we need to be a rest, but your eyes are still working and your brains are working, because we TV so movie and answer documentary and answer the your brains analyze it your brain is actively working, your eyes are working, your ears are working. And for physical rest to be complete, effective, no. Now it may move from fatigue to flourishing. As I said, every aspect of your body should rest. Waso should rest. Weni should rest. And so it means as I said, a dying woman, a quiet, dark, and cool. Now wow, I'm waiting at the year. And I'm saying rest ain't in Quadia walk what I took for a baby. Obepano na wabre. In Tibos, Obed Quadia bebre. Or than the physical rest, no. There's a reason why I'm Quadano physical rest no more than. And yes, Akrana you may be a there's a lot of lesson in there for us. Because babies no you may be uncle two trench and also uncle swap blocks and also uncle building ya Emma Nimre. Into lesson I want my and say and quad physical rest no. And non a bois mama develop. Develop, and that should teach us a lesson. The physical rest, when we are sleeping, and some men develop na be a friend wear and tear repair. Wear and tear repair, no, and it's saying, and it's a midi pediani jumano na breno na as a pra so I saw the kind. What they are do out the door, se kind of books are no actual. This is where they okosia sana ayenam. Inti saa ye nipedia ye di adwuma afia no pakosi anwumre no na ayese sekan ya no actual. Inti enna na ye beda no physical rest no eno na eboa e sharpen ye sekan ni bi mu a ye betinya saa de ekofo mu ochina. Eno nti na ehu hia no. Inti physical rest no ye deeper than say my brain na me hu me. Eboa me ye hu me nipedia ni nyina hu me. But a sab once a rejuvenate a repair, and near my atochima wo yini peduanum, and near my I say I will marry a juma during the day. I feel in addition to saying peduano, the friend some wear and tear repair now, repair itself. No. Oshe picture here that's why who be a more. Where your friend said strand DNA now you can say it here. Now during the day, if you are not pakosi and you mrena ye juma ye ni abere ye kono activities are koso ye ni pedua mu factory na wo ye ni pedua mu na ye juma e produce chemicals, e produce hormones. digest aduane produce energy saa nneɛma no nyinaa akɔ so no your genes and your DNA no etimi sɛe bebree na ɛsɛe a ehia sɛ nipadua no repair damaged DNA na repair of damaged DNA no it happens when we are sleeping. Mmerɛ a yɛda no ɛna your genes no repair itself DNA na asɛe no na sɛ DNA ɛsɛe na yɛn repair a na escape repair what happens in ne sɛ nipadua no try sɛ ɔbɛsɛe no sɛ nipadua no antumi ansɛe no a damage DNA no bɛdane cancer nti cancer na yɛkeka no bebree no one of the major causes of cancer ɛyɛ unrepaired damaged DNA a escape destruction yɛ nipadua no ɛwɔ nneɛma bi wɔ hɔ a sɛ ɛwɔ asrafoɔ immune system a sɛ DNA ne sɛe na yɛntumi anrepair a na wahu sɛ ade wei ɛsɛ dangerous ɛsɛ mesɛe no na wasɛe no ntɛmtɛmtɛm na warecycle no sɛ wantumi ansɛe no a which means sɛ immune system no ɛnyɛ competent enough sɛ ɛbɛsɛe damage DNA no a ɛbɛtumi ago on na abɛstart cancer process nti no sɛ wotie me yie na wo follow the line of thought na ɛbɛkyerɛ wo sɛ one and adeɛ baako a ama seesei cancer adɔɔso wɔ ewiase seesei yi no ɛyɛ faulty DNA repair or faulty destruction of damaged DNA. And one of the underlying cause of all that is say yenya the requisite physical rest. And none home as I say your home ni peduano na buano no ultimate repair no onya. And one of the reasons if oh na year one the repair doesn't go on properly. And two, the immune system also and also because the immune system also needs to be refreshed. It needs to be refreshed and sleep no that physically no and also a repair. And unti physical rest no ehu hia pa for wear and tear repair and especially to repair damaged DNA. And now how many hours na you hear of the physical rest? Newborns nkwara ya wo ba to ho and then ya wo mo to ho foforo a ohia 14 to 17 hours of sleep and also physical rest. So the medical church mu no nkwara no nyese bread no abere ntio but sa 14 to 17 hours no eno na ohia to repair to develop and to grow. And I don't know a time and the body needs for growth and development because the baby anafe na develop. Into the process is na because we newborn no more. A be man when na the hormones produce ye na chemical we produce na we aye na dwuma ye no. We hear sa time of rest no to do it. And young children and so nkwara nketewa and so here be 9 to 13 hours of sleep. The elementary school no the elementary school elementary school I be a free be 2 years babesi 10 11 12 omu here 9 to 13 hours of sleep. Kwara no so nya sa sleep na what happens in this nya sa wear and tear repair na make kan wasem no nya sa growth and development kai hu se nkwara from 1 year ba be 13 be 12 years no so nya nyini nwie yo growth and development is continuing in this nkwara na ntimi na enya enough sound sleep a brain in develop ye brain in develop ye systems no and develop ye especially hormonal system the brain if I say there were pathway be a free your brain a connect basi your adrenal glands a control stress response, a control your mood, a control your energy, a fast respond to it. You know, so axis no say and develop year. Ubo se nkwara no ebetimi abenyini na afi omu aye irritable. Akwara na irritable, no aye jumpy, no aye so anxious. Ana se no wanyini no onyini nyina na ni mood no na ese na oye moody nti bo so obenyini no abeye moody. Etimi lead to mental health problems, anxiety, depression, mood disorders. One of the leading causes here enkwara omunya enough sleep. Na onya enough sleep, na se ne medical akire mu no, physically no onya enough sleep. Na mentally no osa bombard n'ani no to with radiation radiation per se but in sensory stimulus to say TV no hit TV no flashing lights no any computer any phone na sa screen no e man ye worse. It is one who say nkwara say e wo ewiase say no omo ye kika a lot of the time no ye nkwara no nya enough sleep. Apart from say binom so enya good health and nutrition so ya kan ho asem dada no bebre no e sleep but eba saa na ye akɔhye aduro yare ne ya ma na yare ne ato ne din ne ya asoa nuro bebre egu nkwara no so nti ubu nso so ane ye ma ne nuro because so akwara woro kika dodo ne ya ma na edin ADHD hwan ne ya di nuro bebre. One of the major causes of that, apart from nnuane a process what chemicals and additives no, one of the other major causes no nkwara umunya enough sleep. Umunya enough sleep so the brain no entimi home and etimi repair itself, etimi clean itself up. 9-13 hours of sleep and nkwara nke to asa umunya. Teenagers 8 to 10 hours. 8 to 10 hours and a teenagers in here. And so say na teenagers aba no omu no omu na kese kra abu so TikTok so sa na 5 am. When TikTok, YouTube, another Instagram, another BB or the chat, no in enough for chat sa no the another no scroll sa na Facebook sa na di action. Inti utie ni a hwini ye fi say eno no a na bebre na nipa bebre nya no eno na e affect hormones no, especially a mass or your by teenager na on na year e affect your hormonal system. E betimi affect your menstrual cycle. Na affect your menstrual cycle na e betimi develop sa premenstrual syndrome na make am wasem no. Etimi precipitate ye no. And etimi affect mood. Inti we say just because one na ye no affect your hormones, affect your menstrual cycle, affect your mood, fear create anxiety and also depression. And so na solution was to say on na ye because and now just one day per one you know so on not enough na a year day after day, week after week, months now if you're going to years now on a year, that is what happens. We need to be not chronically, we're moving from normal mode and then a chronic stress mode. A basa and don't have the problems in the band. And adults paying for 18 echo and so you have 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Now we have 7 to 9 hours now. Young adults, baby see active adults, you bear 7 hours now. Only na 65 economy 70 now, oh, you're less active. Now your need for sleep and so cost. It is our share. Those I had to say, I say, so draw grapher, mathematical grapher, I say. Oh, if we say, and a basa. And he said, we a newborn, we have more sleep, more. We no now sleep need no so. afei wo sa ba kokora na oba berewa no na sa akosoro no you need ni sa akosoro because amre no onipadua ne ego no ihia more rest to rejuvenate, to repair itself into na etisan. This is the first type of rest, physical rest. But spending a lot of time on her because I know na ya ni nima yataka wasem. But I know so na set the pace for everything. From fatigue to flourish, the first one of the 7, any physical rest a year and you have 7 to 9 hours. 7 to 9 hours. And it means that your daughter, you should aim at not getting less than 7 hours of sleep. So when you're less than 7 hours, we are sleep deprived. And we are sleep deprived. Who will be a friend says sleep deficit. Sleep deficit, it is say, dear, Debiarada, Wakatria, the amount, $100 a week. Now, so every week, we are spending $120. In 2 months, I would cut $20. So, Kikabom, I am fancy be our bank ready the team in. And even though I was 100, no, put me D120, or more, almost near 20, no, so every week could do 120, even though unya 100. Kikabom, 4 weeks, 1 month, and I say, almost all the car 80. And you know, would 80 a month times 12, saying. Then multiply by times 24, times 48. In the echo 1 year, 2 years, you won't say cow didn't know economy, Pepe. So we just sleep deprived. Now we just sleep deficit now. Now it was now a cow didn't know costro, and a cow didn't how do you pay it? Your body pays that through infirmity. But you understand, yes, a yare. A shas, yes, and yen a jume, a shas, yes, and yen a BNS a cosso and cosso. That is how your body goes into the system of chronic fatigue and chronic ill health. And no be sano, and a yellow laps, a baby, Yana normal, and so now, yes, on Yaris on Tiapo. Sleep, lack of adequate sleep is one of the leading causes of that syndrome. And I must spend the time. I feel second type of sleep, rest, mental. Mental rest. You will never be brave or feel yagging. A lot of thoughts during the day. You said you take a break. Now you are drinking no and home. Now, a quiet, the first why you my home mental rest, no. Especially you drinking mentally, no. Yeah, by hard drinking no. Your friend said negative thoughts, negative and anxious thoughts. I drink and you drink. Then be a nice, I've been be belt to my yagging be a papa, doubt, I've been a facet. Only be there and you will be out in negative, we are so pessimist. Say, hey, Minqua, the minute between you, many area will be a year and Minqua, the enemy Minqua, see, sweet, maybe those kind of negative thoughts, anxious thoughts, affect you mentally, and we need a rest from that. Internet say you move negative and anxious thoughts to hope-filled thoughts. And no and say you won't rest. Until so consciously the moment you say, oh yes, sir, you're giving your mind, your brain a rest. And yes, I will so but I know what you know. She know how to yeah. And we need mental rest. And one of the best ways to do that is the Bible. When you have some Psalms, now Proverbs are. Friends in Christ, just be the book of Psalms more. The date in your brain, no, now mental state, no, are you calm? Now I'm out rest. Until we need mental rest. The third type of rest is emotional rest. You think, acquire your fast so emotionally, no. emotions be on my friend say negative emotions. To say areho, sadness, ebufu, anger, loneliness, uncle baby I know lonely, mabo, jealousy, ahoya, and nibre, self-criticism, fear, rejection. When we know negative emotions, so we need rest from them. We need to find rest for our emotions. You know, baby, yari no. And yet, because say yari pa na high you, negative emotions that you hold on to. Now, some negative emotions, you know, say hold on to what trigger sa hormonal system na make am wasem. What trigger no? What trigger na eventually no? What trigger cortisol production, adrenaline production, and no, if they will go into a state where your friend is a fight or flight response, and no, your friend is a stress response. No, in Juba we say, "Utitimi ya o has different too." As we come abom peri. Na ɛtoa so saa na adane yareɛ bo so house dia me woti yareɛ o me yi na sɛ na koma timi yɛ me ya na sɛ ne koko na yɛ so tight emotional negative emotions abufuo ne ahoya ne saa nneɛma no ɛno na etimi create saa, and so we need rest emotionally. We need emotional rest too. Once again, draw 7 no fa nyame asɛm na wokan a there were a lot of texts more. That rest emotionally. In fact, me can say you medical school. Oh, Argentina. So me call Adventist medical school. Na me call. Me or professor be Dr. Tabuenka, cardiologist be. Na ono na ochire cardiology no osa achire another course be a friend Bible therapy, bibliotherapy. Bibliotherapy, and that's a Bible therapy. And a very, very interesting class. Say, over Bible, no, and will answer to every problem. Say yes, emotional problems. Say yes, sadness. Say yes, anger. Say yes, jealousy. Say yes, hatred. The Bia will struggle with Bia no. Who could trust in my own solution? And I don't need to be a therapy. My who can ya about wow, I'm emotions and wait me and you break from them. And the emotional rest is the third type of rest you hear. I be moving from fatigue chronically to a state I hear flourish and I see you 2 point. Number 4 is social. Social rest, no. And because it's social, you can't only have from Kitahudie, only for young family in Kitahudie, no. There were a lot of relationships who are very, very toxic. Toxic, negative, draining, as a sap your energies. And if you have such a relationship, as I said, break away from them. You need a break from them. And especially young people now, be very careful the way you let you be abused within a toxic relationship. Because your body needs social rest. And not only the first aspect, no. So relationship be more toxic. Men can say, oh, ba no pay me, or ba no so pay me, and as a bema no so pay me. Into your abuse physically, emotionally, mentally. Now to him. Don't make that mistake. Red flags are run away from it, because if you don't run away from it in the beginning, now the you will never have rest for the rest of your life. If you move you need to make physical rest, you need to make mental rest, emotional rest. But and that's your dream say you will be. But it's a social aspect, and say, and yeah, if you are in a toxic relationship, now we have social rest and it affects everything. Emotionally, nobody's now when you're abufuo, when you're anger, when you're time, na afei wadwene no nso ayɛ hyehyeehye because de bi a wodwene adwembɔne sɛ akoa wei paa menya no a ɔfra wei paa menya no a na wodwene adwembɔne ɛba saa nipadua no ntimi nya ɔhome ma no ɛdi saa social rest ne ho hia paa ɛna ha no yɛ relationship te sɛ ɔbaa ne bɛrima ntam na meke but ɔyɛwɔ other relationship social relationship te sɛ ɛnamfoɔ ɔwei deɛ madamfo kɛkɛ yɛwɔ obi yɛ hɔnom a ɔwɔ school wobɛhu sɛ ne namfofoɔ no ɔmo yɛ bullies. They believe they make you feel inferior. You might feel it said you only nipa or you to me into nipa. Abrofo na ya na say you treat me enye blonde and I say treat me enye curly. That type of social, you have to learn how to break away from them. You need rest from them. E bi o hono mo a wo ye ho hwie enye yi. Wo ni nipa no na tifie. But say or toxic a year in relationship ni toxic a make plans say we take a break from them. Once or the toxicity ni start go somewhere. Kotra baby na kwaji ahome. Go get out of that social environment. Give yourself a break. Send you see and run. Oko baby say na akotena ho no ahome from a papa. Ohome from a papa na hwe nature say ya. Ebetwe wadwene si Nyankopɔn so. Na fe ye de adwe ebe flood wadwene with positive thoughts, with healing thoughts, and with positive emotions. And all of us, we need some social rest. It is a adamfo bi na or stress wa meant na ho. O obi na or stress wa na se obetimi a just break that off. Obi a or show so bi a negative toxic yibiano company bi na as toxic yibiano influence bi no break free from it. That is how you get social rest. Nas dia wo ye ho hwie nye yie say bi a waware wona wo yire na na say ukunu no or yes unfortunately or negative influence and as a toxicity wo ha untimi nya ho hwie ya na odi amenya odi ahye nyame nsa na wabɔ ho mpae na wasere nyame sɛ ɔnsesa no na afei nso ɔma wahoɔden a wobɛtumi ayɛ but as much as you can wobɛtumi take a break away from him or her kakra na wakɔ baabi ɛwɔ mu a na wakɔ baabi kakra nkwa na wakɔtena garden bi mu maybe for 2 hours bi na 3 hours bi away from that partner na or stress you. Yes, sir, not just when you those social rest moments are very, very important. The next rest are here is sensory. Because sensory rest, okay, screen is all behind you can was it. Say we are here technologically driven. The society need a technology na drive no. Enti abusuafo bebree ho mo ofie kra they don't even communicate. Omo nim komo kra bi no. Omo so oba ne okunu edampa so na oba no ani hwa ha. Na or TikTok. Na be ma no so ani hwa ha sei. Na ono so YouTube. Na nkwara no so etete honom na obi a on tablet so. Yetimi ya de dining table nyina. Na saa no na ye ne free anopa kosi anwumre a ye wo devices so any screen so no. Higher pap. A creative problem be as you say your friend sensory overload. Sensory overload in any saying as a stimulus na a free screen mo ba na call when names are a call brain mo na a stimulate your brain. When you stimulate brain na brain na brain na a brain na creative be a friend say brain fog, mental fatigue. And you have also say affect your memory. There's only nipa na kasa kra kasa say was already anima bi o ma say untie. Na sa sensory overload we need a break from it. Say research say if we are seeing now the average screen time worldwide is 6 hours 42 minutes. Every individual 6 hours 42 minutes a day, and the average individual is spending on screens, phones, computers, tablets. Now countries be worse than others. Countries be over 10 hours per day on screen. na no a cause sensory overload na a cause exhaustion. And we need sensory rest. We need rest. So that ya adwene ne yanini aso no ebe take break. Sensory overload no enya asem kitwa wo. Se trigger saa etimi cause problems bi. Obi ohonom a sensory overload na etimi trigger no. Wo so obi hu anu ahyase enya seizures nketenkete. As a seizures nketenkete. Nti obi a oye prone to seizures say sensory overload ni sensory stimulation, hyperstimulation no ebetimi trigger seizures. Nti apart from physical rest, ni mental rest, ni emotional rest, ni social rest no, yesa ehia sensory rest. Yem learn yesua se ni yede devices beto ho kakra. Na yafa Bible bi akan anase yakan books. The habit of reading books. Na yemfa devices ni mo no. Okay. Afei yakoya nim. Akam yenu ni yawie. Number 6, a creative rest. Creative rest no any day. Nyankopon boy yen say the seso. O boy yen nipa say the seso. No, Nyankopon is a creator, the creator. And one of the similitude and also one of the similarities of what yen nyamimu a ma boy yen say the seso no say or the creative power be a she nipa mu say and nipa so can be creative. Nti esese yesua how you benya break, you benya rest to become creative. So this is the only type of rest that active. The aka ni na passive. So what dan wada onye hwe. Mental rest and also say you are only exchanging negative mental thoughts to positive thoughts. Emotional rest the same thing, exchanging negative emotions to positive ones. So turn hatred into love and jealousy into acceptance. Social, so we'll take a break. Now, I'll baby. I got now we're free. Sensory rest and also the uja screen say go home now. We're going anyway. Ni arrest. The only one active, any creative rest. It means it's a who take rest, who take break. Now will be a creative baby, who the baby. Now, and no research actually say the more creative you are, the more rested physically your body becomes. And the more satisfied you become mentally, emotionally, and socially. And our senses and also me, I say, and your sensory stimulus. Until you don't say creativity, and also you will draw, and also your garden, or your food to a full media plant, or nature, and also who play music, who play instrument. If you are creative, be out there and say you be a wow, even though a human are but actually, a woman, if me go into the state of relax and digest instead of fight or flight. Into creativity, into no. A quiet the first why you been is a medical can you see how I play instrument, do see painting, or your creative, art, and drawing, now creativity, and also a good form of creativity. We are creative. And at the next one, garden. So you would be a plant a garden, be a gardening. And also a form of creativity. We need something like that. Obiano, so unimia, so Tina Toribia Bonse, Usha, Brofono culture, no Bibria, or more Esia, and Yamanimasa, knitting, was an order, panny and order, mini blanket. Will be on my bones, Obako Moy, or be any or Tihon, no Tihono on minute, or the Sano on mini blanket, no on mini lays, no ye we. It's because it's just one year no. When it is a creative break now, rest now, emotionally, mentally, socially, no, or best spiral up negative. Because obeka say, oh, mikra meti here, my mom, minkwa na meti here, mini obia na almost not hono hwehwe nkofo munam 2 by 2 na akofa areho aba almost no hwe ni neighbors a ebi because o ma no na akofa jealousy ni ani bere ni ahoye a. In creativity no it takes your mind away from enyemasa, and that is why all of us need to have something that we can create with our hands. Bibi a bit me suaye, and yasha siaye. Now take our breaks now. They are very, very fulfilling. That is the 6th form of rest, and the 7th form of rest. And a spiritual rest. Spiritual rest, no, and no any the type of rest yet very, very important. And no any say ye de how ni ye niswa nyina ekwa koma erade. Ye how ye niswa ye bone ya deswa ye how ahoro ye dwuma mu problems a ye obi bia ye de abre Yesu Kristo. Na Yesu Kristo etimi ayi free ho. And no nti na homeda rest no ye say ye didi agro no. And yet rest ye de etna fie eda. Ebinum turn spiritual rest into a physical rest. Say, oh, as I say, yes, home and here now home. There be and only a physical rest, and only the obey no debia and a joe obey. But spiritual rest an entity by itself. It's so do I do akuma new nipedi ma erade. Now make sure so sorry I spiritual amount no wait me home. And no see yes, sir. Because ultimately, yeah, no now yeah. A trickle down affect you in and my almost our God is a creator, a creative God, and wow ama wanya creativity no aba. Wow with your sensory rest so because who are one more and your honor but you move a was sorry them one na your phone so. And even the spiritual rest no crano, the sensory stimulation I say no. We need spiritual rest. In Tina Yankopo Ama Yahumedana. Ye sorry, so young Kosomo. Na yen trust them na yen your Bible. In the spiritual rest, no, a started free feel. What kind of trust them usually was Sabbath school. Now one paye na a fee auto spiritual hymns near the day and no a ongoing and sana who made that drew so a horror echo combination of the spiritual rest for the whole week, you know. You could see Omeda. It's where you know money. Rest niema enso a eye home a ehia say ye a ebeboa ye move ye from fatigue, a state of fatigue de bia ne abre chronic fatigue to a state ye flourish ye na bibia akoyie amaye. Inti abundant health series no ye zoom de no enne ya ha na ye de besi se ye yesu nyina na se ye ka we adi bomu a na me beboa ye ama ye ya pomudi na awie peyo said ye be ya na nichim Paul o man ye ne empire o man ye wo 3 John 2 na o se obo empire se be si ye honhum ni honam mu no e betimi aboa na awie peyo medamase nyambo a china ye be hia e wo Long Island na ye hia the beka proteins, the good, the bad, the ugly. So also only protein ho a person to be a protein ho a abema ho adwiri wo a nyambo ochna bra intimida mase so questions bi ho no mo a betimi adiaba.
Amen.
Okay. Openi any.
Yes.
Obetimi akase.
First of all, my question is say the people I want to mean that ebeboa say obenum aduru asa na otimi ada.
It depend. It depend. And they say and nano nima bebree na emma wuntimi na nti ese ye hwehwe mu ansa. Ese ye hwehwe mu a na ye hu because nano nipa bebree ntimi na no sene na me last na me ka no yi no mu ye ka sunshine ho asem no. Obi ho no mu the only reason I wuntimi na ne say chronically or your vitamin D deficient. Ni vitamin D low, so vitamin D is low na you deficient. I be bre pa ansa na wetimi ada. Obi so ho no mu ne iron low or iron deficient. Iron deficiency and anemia and also one of the leading causes of insomnia and nipa ntimi na. Enti eno no these are just examples na mediama. Bebree wo hɔ saa. Enti na sɛ ehwehwɛ mu yehu ade property na ye correct no. Ansana yaka edru ho asɛm. But most of the time no, nipa ne bebree ɔka sɛ mintimi nna pa ɔkɔ ya na doctor atwerɛ ambien na ma anaso atwerɛ sleeping na yama. And no so the danger no ne sɛ so one correct underlying causes na factors now shart yes nom medication for a na the best say we need no sleep physiology na what be dependent on the drew in the free or on one no drew na untimi na no be dependent on it and also enya ade papa kra because a drew be a prescription a drew be a special you know I want to say a side effects and some of the side effects no and yet very pleasant at all. In the foot one and say, as a sound you now yet one cassa show a brabo checking. And you may be a honor message house son. Never a brabo anyway, Juma Yemua sauce son. Because to be a honor one and the reason and I say the circadian rhythm, the kind of circadian rhythm man. If you are no pie, we are a puina qua cocusiana joa, a viabeto, na soon beba, na SSO codano. I say because of the shift, the type of shift the Juma oyen. I say in because Oyano pass say no acquire we are no acquire third shift, no acquire second shift, because you see over time we're going to be a credit. And Yama Sani na it me mess up with your circadian rhythm. It no as I say she's manina, say the medical Canada no. Say the beya yenko pesika na yen say ya pomodiana yenkwa because ya na tole bia ya na me rate me for enipa ne bebre ho mutimi ko chi boka tuatua thousands of dollars ye procedures and so am one bo se no maba enti me clinic me ten some power me hu nsam wo ho no enipa ne bebre ho ba utimi se wa ye ready se sika bia obagini bia obetua to recover the health because when you can tuatua thousands of dollars aye procedures ne ade aye niema and so ne ho nto no saa mre no so wanya sika no and so no intimi nto ne nkwa back enti na se we take some of these into consideration.
Tena adwendwen so tema wontimi na adwendwen.
Aye, adwendwen so timi na wontimi na definitely. Eno ne enti no se ka se hwehwe mu saa eno no one of those mental and emotional rest na na make eno no se hwehwe ade kro Emma ekipu awake ade kro stress you because adwendwen e ka sa adwendwen a before Ghana for ya na tafe na adwendwen baby o hold ma just chronic anxiety. I say fear and worry about imaginary things. And there may be a honor more, you need to control. And I say you slow, but and you're real. You slow say be because say be that say, but at the corner and say, and so near real about that. And you must have your techniques, a quiet password. It may be control. It be this naturally underlying factor. No, I can do and I can do so a emotional, mental, emotional. As I say, you solve no. So one solve no now the medication treat here, a better worse. And that's how
Yeah, that's it.
Yo, Papani Alex Ajima Pacho beat me akasa.
Your dog, Yami Inshira. The Pacho, my question no circadian rhythm na work myself. Yeah, Juma and Adreno say, nya kwanya na etumi say no, na ebio say bia ye ko Ghana on say ya betena ha ne time difference and also etumi say circadian rhythm na ebio ye say bia ye ntumi ana na ya create deficit na. Is it possible say be a siesta and answer nap can replenish deficit na be a create over a 90 and I say once we lose it, that's it. No siesta or nap can replenish it. But that's it.
Yo. No, me that's here and no correct say the main year Chrome has said a circadian rhythm no yes night shift work. Night shift work na no the main so same we me kana me yakakra if you say because of family dynamics in situation into no the Nipani Bibri, they have no choice. They have to work night. Me say me yeri or human nights are for a long time. Then senior crown as a switch. Day because of family, me quite human or pa. So be with you from Quadano. Something personal. Me can't was my yeah. But night shift work and the major cause of circadian rhythm, especially say we hear nights for a long time. Now if you if you are no partner unya time when to me na a cell sleep no. Not only is your rhythms off, but a naka crowd with me other during the daytime so unsure the nyani year. And no, let me compound the problem. And as much as possible, say if your family dynamics and here say we are human nice, but Monday say you are working to say the enrani I can say we bet me a two core countryside and I say make plans for it and pepe make plans to say that actually be an ube jais our night shift work and no what pay for during the day because the entire necessary question we me answer yeah personal to me and me say every research compare night shift workers to day the night shift workers have more risk of chronic diseases, especially cancer, heart disease, chronic disease, and the friend say all cause mortality. So for no more night shift, I say a till kwaso. Nti omu wu ntem omu night shift. Nti say enya ade a opesa wo ye no nkwa na nyina say de oba America no de e bia obedi 30 years wa ha na 40 years wa ha na say na 30 years ni 40 years awadi ni nyina no night shift nkwa na wo yes a wate wo nkwa so pa nti no se bibi nti na se wo ye night a nti ase wo I mean enye de ye pe nyina na ye benya but ye wabonyame mpaye na wa ye plans say wo behwehwe bi but to de bi a ye na yen before Africa for a high kese ne say ya na ye dwene sika no ho mo chen ya pomudin ndi say de be ya mekum me ho na menya sika yi na metimi ato Mercedes fufuru ya me pese metoyi ana se metimi ato efie kese ya me pese metoyi enti no mekum me ho na maye obo so be wiye no na afie no wa yare na wato Mercedes no so ntimi entenem enti ya no sa no na sese ye hwe ni na yesesa ne makakra se ya ma niema ene de amanfo be kan show a nkofo be ya kyerem foforo no ya ma eno na hia ye nkese a me gidi say decisions be bre on ma we won't take them. And that's the first part of the night shift second part about uko Ghana now uko Ghana there na wa ukodi a few emphasis 2 months 3 months now ba and sasa I don't know sasa Canadian rhythm because even so one could a few weeks now could you check out now ba and sasa the first few days now abano and no your jet lag any change of time no na so body adjust to that then the body is very good at adjusting the body adjusting within a few days now adjust into moving from one geographic time zone to another and say circadian rhythm sir the say no pan night shift work and I say shift any consistent and now a first shift no acquire a third shift no acquire second shift then be a baby or better say probably am na over time you bet you out time and half no a jump no akoye and no say na dey measure up your circadian rhythm pa and the third one no say unya sleep deficit na naps bet me aboa kakra bi but entimi wow enkosi baby e say boa bi say mo be kai am na ye sunshine no me kire say ye nipadua no eduru awia a when you are exposed to sunlight now, not direct sunlight, but the light now, when you know it is sensitive light now, a call into your brain, now a trigger a part of your brain be a friend pineal gland, and no it produces melatonin. Now a trigger no and a joda and a juno awada now, wakata when na after when you sense darkness, now a trigger the brain centers. Okay. Aduane na mema a wosensen si hɔ no mu na and still now me ma we see ho ma fe na time aso nti ka jatum na no ama me na me nti bo se na fe no wa sha say o produce melatonin na in addition to melatonin no sa anadwo no melatonin na your hormone into that trigger and also trigger other hormones so it's a growth hormone, serotonin, GABA, dopamine, all these hormones are buoyant with our mood, near our energy, how our pleasure. Most of those hormones are synthesized at night when you sleep. Now, and no, because anadwo what done na produce into the so oda area snap, utiki nap to you find say to make up for the sleep deficit. You don't get all of this. Maybe I'll be physical rest but you don't get all of this. To say the still deficit and untina anajo there is nothing like it. There is nothing like the anajo. But then if that is what you have, you just do the best you can. Okay. Me answer opening my mess about so be me fa a friend saying a more question kakra chat okay. Meba also bismi nka you on me Long Island in your person make a protein shake one some kakra. Okay, meba so sisi a. But me fa second question first. Joyce question or say me fa Joyce question and send my about Joyce A. Or say, can trauma trigger or contribute to chronic fatigue syndrome? Oh yes, trauma it may trigger chronic fatigue syndrome because trauma no trigger the stress response. Trauma no trigger in it puts the body on constant alert. As a debia in so say it won't be ever be see and no na a cause why now I created your friend said post friends the PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. That's how post traumatic stress disorder no the soon so back any and now nipa intimina and no so no say nipa ya intimi home a esa itimi create chronic fatigue because nipa na say tem bia no are on edge. It means that the body is in constant fight or flight mode. Yes, stress mode. Now, stress mode no so dra. Me just say time said it. Okay. Me church mo kakra. Say the pedua no through chronic stress. Bia kwaso ni. Just to see a picture with me for why you need to say. I say what with them. Now pie free with them see abontin fie any mo be front door see any mo see any mo na pit bull be our neighborhood pit bull so free kiki no to about so. What would you do? The one who said danger be bow. So danger is a crime way or the coming some people be and am fan man be drastically see how bit me kumiana bit me prami. And you see yourself say your life is in danger. And when your life is in danger, you do things that you need to do to survive. And at that material time, no, the only thing that matters is survival, nothing else. In this situation, and as a scenario, yeah, I explain my painting. Or that Guinness, hey, can I even be sure? But you see a cry and you make a in the media. Yeah, be an in a Mohammed. And I say, hey. Now, when Tin has a cry, my big high cry, some foot through a house, say, be a virus, we are not bacteria. None of that matters. Or really any of those. Your parents say, Obe Tumrika, now what save yourself. That is how chronic fatigue works in our body. So, if you go through chronic fatigue, it trigger that fight or flight response on cortisol, cortisol, adrenaline, cortisol. And then the body it's as if the body is thinking to itself, say, I am under attack. I need to survive. So what do I need to survive? In TBBI, when you here, emphasize survival, sleep, immune system, wear and tear repair, wound healing, reproduction, digestion, BBI, emphasize survival, I suppressed. And so when that is suppressed, if your digestion is not working well, your wear and tear repair is not working well, your wound healing is not working well, your DNA repair is not working well because of chronic fatigue, because of chronic stress, definitely ubitimi enya chronic fatigue. Most of you know because nipediano is sick, but you cannot pinpoint say yare in it. And yes, trauma is very, very serious. It no be a through trauma be an harbor for no yard. A yard you through counseling, you try to do through counseling. May ya boa with me, ye before you come in a yard. Obi go through counsel, obi go trauma mukrana. Now we soon and answer or ya need at the most with Timmy or the Ocha or the Dian Quani. As I see a yes antiasiano. Na yitimi ebuanko for no mutimi healing. One through counseling ye no one and healing ye through the trauma no ye baggage but no so name kwande nyina net no so. It is a very, very important question pa na obisan. It is say ye wo asori mu and answer busua mu na obi go through trauma. Let's do everything that you betimi say. Ye the best support for na boa ma betimi healing from that. And yes I ye baggage be di nechi akochi. Sister Joyce, question no protein shakes no meka me answer by your opening Alex Ajima say a fad ye yaka yi ho asema ya answer no answer about it. So the opening Alex Mpacho bit makasa.
Yo, doctor, mapabim. Yemu bi oha, sa yamfa light, yamso light yentumi nda. Afi yamfa radio so NC so de yentumi nda. Maybe a question be mu and so say psychological rest are here. I'm say and right now we can essential oils you bet me a diffuse.
Yes.
What do you think about CBD oil and lavender? Say be a bit me a boy. I hope so. What can I say? You targeted the root cause, but say be a new ho. Na say baby ho bit me a be boy kakra with us.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no. And it's a you need to do you know. Yeah, Yankopon boy, you know, a very resilient, just a tough. A bit me survive a lot of abuse, a lot of things you throw at it, and you best survive. And it me adjust, now I adapt to any situation at the man. And when I say you're very careful, when you maybe any habits be a adopt because a kawa nija edi. Enti saa nipa bebree wɔ hɔ nom ɛnyɛ nipa baako bi a wɔ hɔ nom a gye sɛ dede wɔ dan mu hɔ ansa na watumi ada anaasɛ kani asi so ansa na watumi ada ɛno no ɛyɛ habit a nipa no abuild from a long time ɛna nipadua no ayɛ used to something that it shouldn't be get used to so nti for example obi wɔ hɔ nom a ɔyɛ prisoner yɛde no to prison na prison hɔ nom no yɛde light asi no so num like ani akora de bia na light si no so nti sɛ ɔyɛ saa for years na afei yɛyi no a yɛasɛe nipadua no system no nyinaa the way behave nti no sɛ light nsi so a wontimi nna na akɔyɛ te sɛ shock bi ama no nipadua no bɛkɔ into panic nti ɛno no asɛ ɛyɛ unfortunate ɛyɛ abnormality ɛna nipadua no ayɛ because nipadua no yɛ so resilient ɛyɛ ɛwɔ very friend sɛ very plastic because the plasticity no not just say it means ɛsesa no ho ɛdane no adapt no nti ɛna abɛyɛ adapted and used to something that is not really normal. An abnormality betimi abɛyɛ normal ama yɛ even though I shouldn't be. Nti no ɛnyɛ adeɛ ɛyɛ normal sɛ gye sɛ wohia dede anaasɛ wohia light ansa na wɔyɛtumi ada. Ɛyɛ just an adaptation. Nti no ɛno saa no it will take a lot of work. You have to work on it gradually. Now why a desensitization kakra. Until you start with light. Now light now would demon until you light it demon. Now kakra. Now experiment ya. Now if you them one and you used to a little bit of darkness. No who say okay, me da light less light mono bibi anyame or me da darkness no bibi anyame. Na if you was in any pediara shall say readapt to dark room. Oh yes, a check, but you can adapt to you can say obetumi asesa no na afei nso no dede no a yɛdeda no sɛ obi a ɔde dede da biara no sɛ ɔka no kora akyerɛw a obenyane no ɔda adeɛ akyi no nyane a wobɛhu sɛ na ayi oni mental clarity na adwene mu no na ayɛ sɛ wayɛ adwuma anadwo no nyinaa because the brain didn't rest. Into the brain ahome because what you want to but they didn't community no a year juma subconsciously watching it causes mental fatigue and it's also called brain fog no into also and you're very good so did the better yeah this is almost be the white noise in the I it's a fan it is so we no you different but said they did say will be all the TV in Siswa and I said you be more I want me no and no you can once and also as a to me desensitize from it. The best way and then say a damn hobby is some dark, na are you quiet, na are you cool. So cool, dark, and quiet. And no the baby woman if you to me rest physically, mentally, emotionally, in all this rest now you can want some to me every pay you. Okay. And Jaffe, Sister Joyce, question no. What's it protein shakes? Okay, protein shakes, no. Beka wasn't kakra, but also be out now to manti. One of the things industry, no, and created a whole protein craze. I mean, if you say you hear protein be pa in Tinobos and Ipano, they are always scrambling to get more protein. So you ask you say yeah protein be that is where a free power. Now, secondly, because of that, I feel much as you say, oh, protein, no convenient. I'm a nipa baby. So they are international only protein, no. Protein, protein. Generally, now almost and nam. Most of the time, I have for and protein. Protein to them, protein is equivalent to meat, chicken, beef, or pork, or whatever. And that whole protein hype now you create a commercialized protein and no one lead to the so-called protein shakes because almost protein anybody anytime okay and let's make it convenient for you and no create all these protein shakes powder and now they go you know I mix in one so the person me training and say in actual fact we don't really need protein shakes. We don't need it. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. That's not what I'm saying. But we don't need it because so we follow the first lecture, the secrets of nutrition, and keep it simple. Now eat as close to nature as possible. In this awareness, you get all the protein you need from your real food. Now when your protein from real food, your protein shake. Into the only times a protein shake are very useful. I be a bit like I say, okay, you may use and say, and now would do again, it will make effort so big healthy. Now once in a while, but so your protein shake be you say be all so light. Now yes smooth now the protein powder fra now I'm mixing not just say I balancer and no now bit me but and yeah idea you good thing say we rely on protein shakes they be sort of so be dear and kasa. Point number 3, and it's a protein shake. Your protein shake, casein based protein, a free milk, and your whey based protein, a free protein. All those proteins, so you have to be very careful because it stimulates a lot of inflammation and also a lot of other problems. It is also a person who use protein shakes, powder, and making sure so what either rice protein or pea protein. Pea protein if you beans are many peas. And a rice protein also your rice. Brown rice, I extract protein of him. We are the sad and it will be to me use from time to time. Even pea protein, any rice protein now healthier because of your plant based, and you don't want to depend on it. You want to actually eat your food. Now I don't know where you should as a supplement once in a while. I know where you should. Okay. Okay. Okay, but your questions, no? Okay, you're welcome. Questions, Asa. The other therapies, other strategies are for chronic fatigue, apart from therapy, And they say, yes, a chronic fatigue, say, Drew, maybe, and I'm saying chronic stress, it may create a lot of imbalances when you animal. Imbalances, say, nipa guy is so stressed chronically, and nipediana go through chronic fight or flight, and my hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, produce, so and they are affecting nipediana function. Into be a hormone, so chronic stress problem na create when you know into ama physiologically, ebia onidi onidi na onayi ni adinti no the other alternative ne say yebeye thorough study ni ahwe ni pakro no the history ahwe say odayi a onayi a yabo na manetimi adayi onidi a yabo na manetimi didi after ahwe no the nutritional status. So onye vitamin D deficient, onye iron deficient, onye B12 deficient, onye folate deficient, ne iodine te saying, ne selenium te saying, he sa nneɛma no nyinaa na sɛ ebi wɔ hɔnom a ɛyɛ low anaasɛ yɛ deficient a na yɛ optimizing na nipadua no hyɛ aseɛ sɛ ɛyɛ flourish a ɛtumi boa ma chronic fatigue no ɛkɔ so ɛyɛ den ɛyɛ better ɛna ebi nso wɔ hɔnom nso a yɛhwɛ no yɛfrɛ no sɛ the mitochondria na mekyerɛ ɛwɔ cells no ma yɛ produce energy ɛyɛ energy plants no ɛno nso no na yɛ optimize mitochondria no yɛwɔ kwan yɛ ɛfa so ɛyɛ no yɛwɔ supplements ahorow a ɛtumi de optimize mitochondria function na yɛno nso aboa ama wɔatumi anya energy. All right, nti ɛm sɛ questions no yɛ exhaust no nyinaa nti sɛ question biara ni hɔ a na yɛ nabɔ nti menim sɛ obi yɛ last question bi a oh okay let's see my clinic a link I mean type no ha sɛ yeah nti my clinic ni edin no and I mean the link no a Pro Natural Wellness Group. Pro Natural Wellness Group. And no any me clinic no edin. And yeah. Maybe yapom. And I feel so maybe I mean Miss Afe na wutie mi a na me se meka wa se me nim de me refi me wo YouTube channel bi a ma starter me wo videos bi ohonum na me sa aye bi aka ho na as time nti me ye lectures ma different churches nti me nyanye but okọ honum a eni ye friend no Genesis Protocols nti obi a wutie mi bia okọ YouTube na akọ Genesis Protocols a no ahwe me channel no wako subscribe na wa share amankofo nsɛm yɛ America na hɔ no ebi hɔ no ma hɔ no mehyɛ ase akeka akyerɛkyerɛ nneɛma bebree hɔ no me videos bɛyɛ 4 or 5 bi hɔ a ɛno nso kɔhwɛ a ɛbɛboa wo nti Genesis Protocols so called YouTube na wa type in Genesis Protocols ɛbɛba ndamase me hu sɛ nsa baako wɔ soro m sɛ Matthew bakyerɛ wobɛtumi akasa na yɛafa no as last question.
Doc Mpacho, my question is Yamu me bro ha, say ya da sank ye brain no etimi rest no. A boy etimi sunda ye me brebe like I talk to us all the time no. A normal say was say yes sunda yes sir. Nanya normal so kwan be so ne betimi afa so I reduce ni kakra.
ɛno nso yɛ nneɛma bebree saa da yɛ soso no no nneɛma bebree a yɛbɛtumi just meet me mouse simple answer just yɛhwehwɛ mu a hunu deɛ ɛkɔ so ansa na yɛtumi ahu adeɛ pɔte a wobɛtumi ayɛ but generally speaking no obi wɔ hɔnom a brɛ paa na ɔda a wotumi soso da yɛ basabasa obi nso wɔ hɔnom a ɛyɛ saa PTSD na yɛka ho asɛm no as unresolved problems be in the past problem be a one resolve when you counseling and the therapy no therapy we are so called therapists counseling so you one of the things in to be a more problems be a koso na brabo mu ana excuse me and I say who be at to na brabo mu I went me nya ho resolution one solve yentini solve amano yes ana koye has a baggage in the background it me a trigger ehun te sɛ nkwadaa bi wɔ hɔ nom a yɛhunahuna no sɛ yi sasabonsam ba abɛkyiw kakae ba abɛkyiw te sɛ Ghana nkwadaa no bi nti ɔkɔ dɛm akwadaa koraa no osuro nti osuro sum nti tam biara sɛ momfa light nsi so ma me nti akwadaa no ɔbɛda light mu from ne nkwadaa bere mu a because of saa yɛhu na yɛde ahyɛ ne mu ɔbɛnyini no na osuro esum nti ɔkɔdaa ne sɛ esum wɔ hɔ pɛ na ehu no ɔde kɔdaa no na wahyɛ aseɛ sɛ ɔsoso ɔnya nightmares nti ne nyinaa yɛ nneɛma a ɛsɛ sɛ yɛhwehwɛ mu ne yɛhu kwan a yɛbɛfa so aboa but once again obi wɔ hɔnom a ne problem no ɛyɛ nutritional deficiencies so tumi cause saa problem no of nightmare nti no yɛbɛtumi ayɛ ahwɛ mu ne yɛaka ho asɛm all right ɛm sɛ questions na sa nti yɛde bɛsi ha se na nyamboa ɔkyena yɛbɛhyia madam ase